With Anthony today. We got a nice little show marked up for you. It's a little less basketball, that's our fave, but we're going to throw out some of our sports knowledge. We're going to talk about some UFC stuff. Boxing, what else? This is a good one. Your all-time top 5 NBA players that you've seen. I hate when people always go into, Bill Russell. And what, dude, you're like 30. Stop. You don't even know who Bill Russell is. So we're going to go into that and touch on every player and why and go from there. What you got?
First, I want to get into boxing.
Okay.
I like boxing more than UFC, which we'll kind of get into both today.
I like UFC and boxing, but I've moved towards UFC now.
Right. So first, kind of the Canelo Triple G matchup.
Finally.
And then we can transition into the Mayweather McGregor debacle that we spoke of
recently.
A couple shows ago. But first things first, Canelo versus Triple G. What's your thoughts there?
I've watched a nice amount of Triple G fights. This guy's a beast. He's from Kazakhstan. He's a Russian. He's got power. Just phenomenal power. They both literally decapitated a guy. I forgot his name this quick. But Canelo knocked him silly. And I believe he fought Triple G as well, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, sorry. But he just knocks everybody out, man. He's a power puncher. Canelo has power as well. A lot of people say Canelo's been dodging him. Apparently, it's really been Oscar trying to keep his golden goose locked up. What do you think about that?
I think it's so tough to tell in the fighting business, especially. Obviously, money is the first thing. And then like you said, the promotion.
Yeah.
Whoever's running the promotion wants to make sure they get paid as well.
Yeah.
Also, they want to make sure that, they're human. If they have a thought, like you said, if De La Hoya has a thought that his poster child could possibly lose, he might want to make sure his career lasts a bit longer. The money keeps coming in, and before he puts him out there, and obviously
possibly
gets exposed.
See, this is my thing, which makes me wonder is it's funny because they put him out there against the best fighter of his generation, Mayweather, pretty quick, and Mayweather kind of exposed him easily, to be honest. I mean, I just watched some previews I posted on my Facebook the other day, where Mayweather's just sticking and moving, and Canelo is just swinging at air. So it's hard to say that he's ducking Triple G. I don't know if he just didn't duck Mayweather because Mayweather's power had left him by the time they fought, but you still put him in there to get an L. To me, you want to keep his record sort of pristine. Whereas UFC is a little different, where if you got a loss or two, it's taken. But in boxing, if you can stay undefeated, that makes your freaking legacy go harder.
Right. And actually, I agree with you completely as far as that whole power, that stance you have there, because of the fact that, so when he fought Mayweather, he was 22, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
22, I think it was. So at 22...
I trust the iPad.
Right. At 22, though, like you said, he had no power as Mayweather. So you kind of could put him in the ring with a guy like that, even if he goes 12, which you expect, and they did. Then, he puts up a good fight at 22, because that's the rest of the talk after that. But now you're facing a guy who could knock you out, and when when you go with a knockout loss, that's when you're playing with fire.
That's when it's like, all right, like Chavez. Like, he came out guns blazing, and then he got that loss, and it's just like, all right, bro, you're just fighting. Right. Like, whereas if it's UFC, Conor McGregor's tapped. Conor McGregor's got knocked out, but he's still a freaking superstar. So it's a totally different situation. Right. Just think if Mayweather lost by knockout. Right. To me, but that's where you can go here with it. I can go to the Philippines and say Manny Pacquiao got knocked sweep, and he's still like on an upward movement back. Everybody loves Manny Pacquiao, so it's all about like, you know, what it is. To me, it's like I feel like everybody's waiting for the heavyweights to come back because, you know, Mayweather's done. Everybody, at least in my generation, I grew up watching Mike Tyson just obliterate everybody, and then you had Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. It was just a heavyweight-driven situation.
Those are the slugfests that people want to see.
Those are the slugfests people want to see. Initially, Mayweather did it. Then he had a few people that came and went, you know, defeated Trinidad, De La Hoyas. But until we get back to that, we got to focus on these middleweights that have power. And right now, Triple G's last fight against David Jacobs was pretty tough, but he did win it. It was a
lot closer than I had expected.
Way closer. And if you like boxing, you know that was a fight. Big ass, he won, but he had some trouble in it, and he admitted it. He's like, that was my toughest fight since. Right. And Canelo, he won the Mexican slugfest. I saw some video of Chavez in a room with some hookers after that, so that wasn't a situation for him.
That was money driven.
Yeah, exactly. So he didn't really care about that. That's like a situation where a kid is just, you know, he grew up. Let's talk about this since we're off the cuff. We're talking about like your dad was like a freaking legend, right? He hasn't really did anything. Who else is a legend? Michael Jordan. You heard of his kids? Nothing. It's like these guys, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas. It's just a weird situation. Like the Magic Johnson's son is known as a clothing designer. He's in the LGBT community, so is Isaiah Thomas's son, which I have nothing against. But when you see guys like that, you want them to emulate, as a fan, you want them to be like, oh, Magic Johnson's son and Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan. It's like you see one lineage, and it's like they can't live up to their father's, you know, situation. So,
and I think a lot of that too, you know, with the exception of those who don't have any interest in it, you know, with those who do have interest and just kind of came up short, you know, like Jordan's kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or even, you know, Peyton's kid. I mean.
Yeah, he tried. They tried to push him. I mean, I remember he was on Tennessee. Like, they were trying to get him in the league. It just didn't work.
On Miami, he was, you know, he was decent. But,
yeah.
But the thing is that I think that a lot of these kids who don't, I mean, I think that, one, they have so much pressure on them to own up to, you know, or to try to overexceed what their fathers have done. And I think that a lot of people expect them to be amazing.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy now with the technology and stuff and the social media. You're seeing more current NBA players' kids and the hype that they're getting. Like, I mean, they're great, but, you know, they're in 7th grade. I mean, got to relax
like
a little
LeBron's kid's good.
Right.
I mean, I've seen it. Dwayne Wade's kid's good. Shaq's kid's like top 10 in the nation.
Right.
But, you know, we got to see. I mean, do you think these kids grew up in this lifestyle? They're already rich. I mean, let's just be real. They didn't grow up in poverty, so to speak, such as like Dwayne Wade or LeBron. So how do they still have the fire that their dad does? Like, how does LeBron James' son, knows that his dad is known as the king.
Right.
What does he do as a, 12, 13, to try to barely get to where his dad is?
Well, see,
his dad was in high school. He has 4 years to get to where his dad is.
Right, and see, this is kind of my other take on it, is that So, like you said, you grow up with a lot. You're not as hungry. You know, a lot of these guys grow up with nothing. They're just hungry for success. You know, it's their only way out of whatever bad neighborhood or family situation they're a part of. But like you said, I think that a major thing is when you have a dad who is a high-profile superstar. I think that some athletes get caught up in that, and they don't really spend that much time with your kids, whereas a guy like LeBron or, you know, a Wade or one of those guys, I think that they take the off season and spend it with their kids, and they work with their kids. And again, if you see social media, you see which guys are taking advantage of their time off and spending it with their kids, and that makes the kid better all around. Totally. I mean, that whether you're a superstar or just an average guy in the neighborhood.
As a coach, you can attest that these kids whose parents just drop them off at practice, they're just going to be practice kids.
Right.
The kids that are going to get better are the ones that work their ass off outside of practice.
Right.
And that's what they have to do.
Exactly.
Now, I know I got off a little topic, but let's go on to Mayweather and McGregor. Right now, it's sort of in limbo. Apparently, McGregor has made a deal with the UFC 2-box. Mayweather is still contemplating. You know how this situation goes. They're going to build it up. Do you think this fight is going to happen?
I do.
Okay. What's going to happen in the fight? Because I just don't even to me, it's just a fiasco, like a shit show.
I couldn't agree more. I think that the fact that people, there is some people that are excited to see it because they want to see Mayweather's reaction in the boxing ring. Okay, then there's other people who want to see it because they truly believe it's going to be a good fight. It's not going to be a good fight. One is a boxer, 50-0 professional. One is a UFC fighter with no boxing skills. He just got his boxing license. Okay? I watched him train against an amateur, and he took a beating.
Yes.
A beating.
You saw that.
I did see that. It was horrible. But hey, it's a money fight.
Yeah, it is.
That's all it is. Money. That's all there is to it.
And it's tough because that's all we have right now in boxing, man.
And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. McGregor's going to get in the ring. He's not going to get knocked out. He's got absolutely nothing to lose. Mayweather got everything to lose.
Yep. Which is honestly, I know people don't like him, but you got to respect him. He's getting in there with a guy that is powerful. You can talk about McGregor not being a boxer, but that motherfucker hits you. He might go down.
See, that's where
That's why you got to respect whoever talks smack about Mayweather. You got to respect the fact that he's getting in the ring with this guy. This guy's not a freaking tomato can. No, he hasn't boxed, but UFC has stand-up. He can fight. So let's remember that. Just respect the fact that Mayweather's even contemplating this. So I see Mayweather winning just off of his skill, but like you said, it's a money fight. Now, with the UFC in general, about 3 years ago, UFC was just top to bottom all day. Every pay-per-view was killing it, right? I'm talking Ronda Rousey, you got Conor McGregor, you got GSP, you got the Diaz-McGregor fights, you got the Rousey just killing everybody in their path, you had John Jones doing his thing. Now it's like they're looking for a star again because Rousey's pretty much to the wayside, unfortunately, because she was carrying them. Not to her fault. John Jones just can't get right. Hopefully this time around he does what he has to do. And then obviously McGregor wants to be a boxer right now. So, and then they just canceled another fight. The GSP fight got canceled. And
they altered the Dillashaw fight.
They altered the Dillashaw fight, which will be a good fight. When him and Mighty Mouse, that's going to be a crazy fight. Finally, Mighty Mouse will get some better competition. But so, what do you see as the state of the UFC? What do they need to do to get back to the top of the combat game?
Well, I think that UFC they are transitioning into the same problem that boxing has already transitioned into.
What's that?
So, growing up, like you said, you named 10 great boxers. So there's depth there.
Yeah.
Every card, you're going to see a nice fight leading up to the main event. Boxing right now, you don't know who the hell's fighting until the 10:30 fight goes off.
And that's tough.
Same thing with UFC though. Now you kind of see, this Anderson Silvas are gone, the Forrest Griffins, the GSPs, the BJ Penns, all those weight classes, all different or almost different.
Yeah.
Just so much depth there that, hey, we're going to have UFC 206. There's going to be 4 solid fights on the card, not 2 or 1.
Yeah.
And I think that's deteriorating both of the sports, is that they don't have enough consistency in the ring.
And when you put all of your fights in one, like I understand the end of the year fight that they always do,
right,
to top to bottom. I feel like you got to get some guys to their prowess where they can get to where John Jones didn't start as John Jones. He started as a young 20-year-old kicking people's ass. You know, Conor McGregor wasn't even known 2-3 years ago. So it's like you got to build these guys that obviously, unfortunately, in this day and age, they got to be entertainers. Me and my kid watch wrestling, and to me, that's where UFC is going. It's not going to the fake part, but they're adding in the entertainment. Right. GSP should not be coming out of retirement after 3 years getting a title shot. But that's what has to happen. So a guy like Yoel Romero, who's a middleweight contender, has to step back because GSP is back. So they're trying to get the money card. When McGregor comes back, everybody wants to see him fight Nate Diaz for the 3rd time. So the guys that are in waiting have to wait. Before, it was all about best guy versus best guy. Now it's about name, you know. So what I'm saying is you got to build these guys characters, even though it's themselves, to get people more interested. Because I remember when I was working in bars in Chicago, I was throwing a poster up every week for UFC because everybody wanted to come in and see, oh, John Jones this month, BJ Penn next month, GSP the following month, Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar. It was like every single month it was something. So they got to get back on their game. You know what I mean? So
this may sound crazy, but I had this thought the other day, and tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
So we know McGregor is an ego guy.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, I would not be surprised if he fights this fight.
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna last 12. He ain't gonna get knocked out. I mean, Mayweather's not. He doesn't even attempt to knock people out. He's technical. You think let's say he goes 12, doesn't get embarrassed, loses. You know what I'm gonna say? You think he's gonna stay in boxing?
You know what? You just said he's an ego guy. It's all about the money. But what he has to realize that he's not getting that money against the next guy. You know, maybe Pacquiao.
Right. But then you got to think he's going to get, no matter who he fights in a boxing fight, he's going to get paid more than if he goes back to the UFC.
And that's a tough. But I think that's the deal that Dana White's not stupid. You know.
No, of course.
That was the deal. Like, this is probably a one-time thing. He'll let him fight Mayweather, but his contract with the UFC is for MMA. So Dana White isn't an idiot to just let that stuff fly out there. But I can see your point, because that's how Conor McGregor is. He wants everything. I mean, he got 2 belts at once that nobody else has done. The guy's a beast. But I'm going to see it. As much as I talk, I want to see it. Who doesn't? I'm going to watch Triple G and Canelo, although I got Triple G all the way. I can't stand Canelo. So we'll see what happens. So we got about 10 minutes, so let's talk about this. I'll let you go first. Don't mind my if you say something that I don't like, I might interject and ask what the hell you're talking about, or I'll give you the congratulatory if I can. So Anthony's going to give you his top 5 all-time NBA players that he's seen. His top 5.
Don't have to be in order, right?
I would like you to, but you don't have to.
Okay. So, one of them is going to be Shaq.
Okay. Why Shaq?
Just, I mean, as a kid, early 2000s, to me, he's the best center of all time.
I agree.
I think that his versatility at his size, even though he couldn't shoot, he knew where to be at the right time all the time.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Totally.
I think his basketball IQ was phenomenal. Of course, I think Kobe made him better, but what superstar doesn't make the other superstar better? Which is another whole discussion I could get very angry about. But yeah, I mean, Shaq to me was the childhood center for me. I mean, he was the most dominant force.
And like I told him, it doesn't have to be by position. I don't know if I said that. Yeah, it could be any position, so it doesn't have to be like, forward, guard, your top 5 players. Okay.
Another guy would be Allen Iverson.
Oh, curve. All right.
And
AI.
AI because I think that AI was undersized, obviously. But the thing about AI is that AI reminds me, not their gameplay, but their attitude, like Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
Because now the Russell Westbrook team is himself and him, where it's the same thing with AI. I mean, AI was possibly, besides the 07 Cavs, that may be one of the worst teams to ever make the finals.
Let's discuss that team right quick. Tyrone Hill.
Right. Eric Snow. Samuel Dallenberg.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. This is why I need that laptop. But,
Mutombo was on there at the end of his career. Yeah, but he was so old. He was horrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Keep going. I gotta
pick
up that team. That was a
bad
team.
That team was horrible.
Yeah.
So I mean, AI was kind of out there doing his thing by himself.
Yeah.
So for me, as a kid watching AI, I was like, well,
I don't even think they have.
This comes down to AI, you know. So and he was pretty much taking over every game at 6'2".
Yeah, he was 6'2".
Generous 6'2".
Yeah, he was.
So, I mean, for me, he was a legend. Then, of course, I got to go with Kobe because he's the second best shooting guard of all time, and because I saw him win 5, and
you saw it.
Yeah,
you can't knock this. You know, he saw it.
Right.
It's all about who you saw.
Right, I saw him win 5. I saw that with my own eyes. So
exactly.
I mean, I've seen him will his way to 80 plus and
81.
81.
Watching that game.
And that against, what was that, Raptors?
Toronto.
Yeah, I watched that game myself.
Watched that with Dylan. He was like 1 year old.
Yeah.
2 in the morning.
So, I mean, the things he's done, just he's obviously a legend, and that's all there is to it for me.
Yep.
And then of course LeBron is on the list because I think he's the second best player of all time.
Okay.
Right now, in my eyes, and he's won 3 titles, and he willed his hometown down 3-1 to win it all. And he can do whatever he wants at any given time if he really wanted to. So he's the most dominant athlete that I've ever seen as well.
He's a beast.
So I have to put him on the list. And since I'm on the spot, my fifth one, I'm a little. For me, a couple guys come to mind.
I hope you get lamb-basted on this show. Oh my God. Go ahead. Guys, he's young, okay? You can't expect him to know Mike.
Right. No, I never seen him.
Exactly. There you go.
I mean, I was born in '93. By the time I seen him, he was on the Wizards, averaging 7 a game.
Exactly.
So I just can't even...
See? Now you know how old you are when you hear that.
Right. So I can't even, really go with it.
That's gangster, though. You don't even say Mike. I feel that, though.
Can't say him.
Who's your
I
favorite?
watched the ESPN Classic games. I know he's the best of all time, but I can't say I saw him.
You
Really.
saw ESPN Classic. I feel
But
like.
that fifth guy,
You can tie. You can have a tie. I got a tie.
you do?
Yeah, I got one tie.
I'd have to go with. It's tough. I've seen a lot of good players, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just what position. You know what? It's my personal
Yeah, it's your
favorite,
personal
though.
five.
So my last guy, I would probably have to go with Vince Carter.
Okay. Vince Carter was a beast in his prime.
And Vince Carter's still holding his own a little bit.
Yeah. That was the greatest dunk contest I've ever seen.
Right. That
Ever.
kind of is what made me like.
Yeah.
Well, because when I was so little, that was like really, dunks
He
were
did stuff that was
75%.
Prior to that, the dunk contest was trash.
Right.
And then he brought it back.
When he stuck his arm in, I'll
Yep.
never forget that.
Yeah.
And then he did the
then
through the legs,
360.
360. But I mean, he was awesome on the Raptors.
Yeah. So
I
you
used to
got-
like that team a lot.
So you said Shaq.
Yep.
Who else?
AI,
AI, Kobe, LeBron, and VC.
Yeah.
That's a nice little five. All right. So I'm the older guy of the show. So I'm gonna get mine. Mine's my five. I gotta go with Larry Bird and LeBron. They're like a tie for me. I cannot disrespect Larry Bird. I grew up to where I was in the 80s. I'm an 80s baby. So what that means is back then we didn't have Comcast Sportsnet where the Bulls were on all the time. You got the Bulls on Channel 9 sometimes, and then if you had cable, then you can see them like away, but they played late. So all you had was those Channel 2 games on Saturday and Sunday, which was either Bird versus Magic, or it was a doubleheader of the Lakers and Boston playing first. So all I got to see was Boston and the Lakers, and those teams were amazing. So I got to put Larry Bird up there with giving respect to LeBron James. Yes, I'm older, but I got to respect the guy. You got to give respect. That dude is a freaking beast. I'm still watching. I got him this year. LeBron's a freaking maniac. So he's in my top five. Shaq, most dominant player ever. You give the ball to Shaq in the paint, you're guaranteed a bucket. Period. I still will always remember, if you haven't seen it, younger generation or older, go to YouTube and type in Shaq dunk on Chris Dudley. That's all I gotta say. Watch that, and you'll understand what I'm saying. I've never seen someone embarrassed. Like, just watch that. This is where we got to get our video thing so we can like cut to it,
right?
So they can see it. When we get our stuff together, you guys will get that. So I got Shaq, my top five. Then I got to go Magic, Urban Magic Johnson, freaking Showtime LA. Cannot beat that, man. The Lakers, when they came in town, it was it. This was like before Shaq and Kobe. It was Magic and Worthy. Kareem was on that team. And a lot of people give me flack because Kareem isn't in my top five. Kareem was old. Like you said, Jordan was old. Kareem was old by the time I started watching. Magic was still doing it when he played the Bulls in '90 in the first ever Bulls championship. I'll never forget that. So I got Magic in my last two. Cobster. Got to throw Kobe in there. Everybody that knows me, I got like 5 pictures with him. Kobe Bryant is the closest to Mike. Okay, I don't give a damn what anybody says. You're not going to disrespect Kobe. He's got 5 rings, should have more. Kobe is a beast, and Kobe is my number 2. Okay, and then number 1 is obviously Michael Air Jordan, period. Michael will tell you Kobe is the next. Okay, Kobe just retired, but man, you better Google Kobe and watch what he did. That's when I say beast, Kobe. All right. So those are our top. You guys could comment when you watch the show, and then we'll go back and forth. I'm sure somebody's gonna have some crappy top 5. We got friends that we know is gonna do it. So that's the show for tonight.
There's about 6 dudes that have Curry.
Exactly. Exactly. Steph Curry with the jump. Out of here. So for Ant, I'm Dion. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.